baby. Hi.
This month, students across Singapore go back to school.
Let's go.
But the schools they go back to aren't the same as before.
Reminder, your mask has to be on at all times.
You must make sure that you also maintain a safe distance.
In this episode, I return to school to see how kids are coping in school amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. They may have lived through home-based learning or HBL, but will they survive the school's safety measures? I am at Jingshan Primary School to help out with preparations to ensure children are safe in school. They are expecting over 1,000 students back here next week.
Frankly, recess is the period that I'm most worried about because the kids are going to be in the canteen. So how do you ensure safe distancing?
After several weeks of discussion, the school decides to limit students to 3 a table. But that's a problem. With a shortage of benches, classroom tables must be brought in. Kids must also sit according to their school registration number. Vasantan Lavenia is one of the teachers tasked with the canteen layout.
How many revisions of your canteen plan have you gone through?
This is like our 6th version, so it's like we are constantly reviewing the process.
Why did you have to have so many revisions?
We started off with just 5 to a table, and we realized that as we reviewed, we found that the kids have a tendency to keep huddling together. So then we had to change it to 4 per table. As we keep reviewing the processes, we realized that the best now would be 3 to a table, so at least they have increased social distancing, and more reminders are going to be in place.
The kids may be safe, but recess ain't no fun anymore, I tell you. I mean, the whole point of recess is to run wild and be
Correct.
everywhere, right?
So that's some sacrifice that has to be made.
Morning. Good morning, Mika. Wait. Morning. Time for school. Are you ready for school, Mika?
I last met 7-year-old Mika and his mother Ileana during the circuit breaker.
This is school.
This is not school. This is not school.
It's school.
Hey, Ileana. Hello, Mika. Morning, morning. How do you feel about him going back to school?
Just a little bit anxious because you just don't know what to expect with the new safe distancing in school.
Do you worry that, is it dangerous for him to go back to school?
Not really, because I do see that they put in a lot of measures in school.
Mika has been away from school for 9 weeks.
What are you looking forward to in school?
I'm friends and recess. I want to hide and seek at recess.
Awesome. Well, let's get you back to school, okay? Hygiene!
Once Mika gets to his class, he's in charge of taking his own temperature and recording it down.
27.5.
On top of teaching duties, teachers must also run through these daily reminders. How to wear a mask,
So if it's not covering your nose, you have to pull it up a little bit by the top, okay?
how to dispose a mask,
You show it up. There's the dustbin, okay?
how to wash their hands,
Wash your hands with salt and water.
Wash your hands, yes.
how to maintain a safe distance,
There are some blocks on the floor, so like
how to line up for recess.
when you're in the canteen, you must make sure that you go in. There are 2 rows actually.
Was this the kind of welcome back he was expecting?
Morning, class.
Even Mika's music class is now different. Any guesses on the song choice? finally recess time, but not before this and this. Kids have an assigned seat in the canteen. Today, Mika brought his own snack. He had told me earlier he was most looking forward to playing with his friends at recess. But in his school, safe distancing measures means no playtime. Mika hasn't left his seat except to throw things away.
Have you talked to your friend?
Yeah, it's the garbage place over there.
Do you remember to keep a safe distance? Is it hard to remember?
No,
Okay, why do you have to keep a safe distance?
I don't know.
You don't know? Can you touch your friends?
No.
Why not?
When you don't wash your hands and you touch somebody, then the coronavirus will keep going when students keep touching them.
Wow, you know the virus's name. Can I give you a high five?
Just kidding.
This safe distancing marker is the children's new best friend in the school term. I've observed that the primary ones are still very young, so occasionally they forget to maintain that safe distance. So therefore, this visual cue is really helpful. They just have to stand right there in the circle. The teachers are also kept very, very busy during this period. During recess especially, they have to be on the lookout for the little ones who get really excited and get close to one another, and the teachers have to step in to remind them.
I've arranged to meet Mika's teacher to find out how teachers cope with younger students.
Do you feel stressed having to teach and to look after so many of these things?
Stress level is definitely there, but I think for the sake of the children, I think we need to play our part and be responsible for their safety. So it's worthwhile to spend that effort to monitor them.
More than 800 schools have been closed across South Korea as it battles a new wave of infections in and around Seoul. The number of students who
Just days after schools reopened in May, hundreds of schools in South Korea were forced to shut down again due to an unexpected spike in COVID-19 cases. And that wasn't the only country that saw a new wave of infections. France saw 70 new cases in schools a week after reopening, and over in Japan, schools were forced to shut again after a new wave of infection among students. All these overseas cases made me realize the importance of taking precautions in our local schools. But have these safety measures taken a toll on our kids?
Makes me feel as if I'm shut in a prison.
I'm very excited because tomorrow I get to meet my friends and finally I also get to see my teachers as well.
That's 10-year-old Aris. I've only met him virtually. During the circuit breaker, he was telling me about his experiences with home-based learning.
It's so good because I get to wake up later than usual on normal school days. Gosh, it's so hot.
He's been back at school for a few days now.
Finally, I can take this thing off.
I want to know how well he's been adjusting to the rules. It's finally time for recess. And Aris has been assigned the role of Safe Management Ambassador. His job, make sure his friends keep 1 meter apart.
Hi, Aris.
Hello, Auntie Diana.
Has that been an easy job?
Not really easy. Like, I think just now you saw me. Like every few minutes, I'm like looking around, just looking, seeing if anyone's breaking the rules. Basically, I'm like a mini policeman watching out for people who are so-called breaking the rules, you know.
So far, have you had to report anyone?
Actually, we don't really report. Instead, we just remind them. For example, if you see someone is not doing the right thing, you like say, "Excuse me, you're not following the measures," or something like that.
Of all the new regulations, which is the one that you find it the most difficult or you hate the most?
Basically, having to wear a mask like almost 100% of the time.
There are many more rules now. What happens if you don't follow the rules?
I don't know what they're gonna give us, but it's definitely not gonna be pleasant.
How does that make you feel?
As if I'm shut in a prison and I'm not supposed to go out. I can't go out, there's no way.
So then which is your favorite part of the day then?
Favorite part of the day when it's PE.
Why?
Because you don't have to wear the mask.
The first few days of Aries in school was him trying to adjust to the new rules. But I wondered, how would he feel after having to do it for an extended period of time? Three weeks later, I returned to Aries' school. He is in the middle of a character and development class. Today's activity discussed some possible reasons why a child their age may be unusually quiet during this period.
Something like extremely terrible, worse than having to do assessment every day.
Maybe he could not really spend any time with his family, so he did not really have any fun.
I think a family member getting sick or might have gotten the COVID-19.
Can I do a quick survey? Okay. Tell me, on a scale of 1 to 5, how happy are you to be in school? 1 meaning a little bit happy, 5 meaning very happy to be in school.
About 4.
Young man?
I think 2 because it's usually my point of going to school is to talk with my friends and play with my friends. But because of this new SMM, we can barely do any of that.
Thank you.
I think with this SMM is just not the same.
Hey, good to see you again. Okay, 2 weeks ago when I met you, you had told me that during recess you felt a little bit like it was a prison. How do you feel now?
I don't feel happier, but I feel more at ease because now I don't feel too lonely anymore because I know other people are on the same boat as me. Everyone feels that. I would have been downright surprised if they didn't feel the same way.
What can adults do to make you feel even better about the situation?
Perhaps they can install some VR headsets along with some VR chairs and remotes so that we can be entertained during recess. We can just sit down there and pretend and feel as if we're like flying through space or something like that.
I see. What is the one thing that you look forward to that the school will allow that you cannot do now?
Well, to finally run freely, play soccer. Another thing is also the library.
Our children could be hidden victims of the COVID-19 pandemic. A survey by UNICEF found that they were worried about being isolated from family and friends, catching the virus, and even dying from it. It prompted the organization to develop a storybook for children to help them better understand COVID-19.
The title of this book is A New Virus Has Arrived.
Do you know about the bug?
Here in Singapore, similar resources have been done, be it through videos or e-books. But is it enough? I'm going to speak to a school counsellor to find out what more we can do.
Hi, Miss Sandra.
Yes, hello, Diana. Please take a seat.
So, it's been about 3 weeks since school started. Have you picked up any mental or emotional issues that's related to COVID-19 measures?
The good thing is that the children manage to adapt quite quickly, but one thing we noticed that is new for them is the social distancing, where they have to keep a safe distance from one another. And that's when they feel very uncomfortable, especially for young children.
It's not natural.
Yeah,
it's not natural to socialize.
Correct. What is helpful is that the teachers have been giving the children a lot of space to share about their feelings when they came back.
These safety measures could be around for a long time. What is the long-term impact on the children's well-being?
I would think that children being very adaptable, they will be able to innovate and find ways of interacting with one another.
Do you think there's a case to be made for us as a society to be more creative and yet keep them safe? For example, in China, they have the safe distancing hats. In Japan, the kids are allowed to go to the playground. And in Denmark, a lot of lessons take place outdoors so that the kids can have a bit more space and freedom. Do you think that it will be in the children's interest if we try to think out of the box?
Yes, I would think so. Like in our school, we have the hopscotch map out for them just outside the office. We have quite a number done up for them, and they could just queue at a safe distance and play as a team. And that's one thing possible that we could do here. And if you talk about the parks in Singapore, they could run at a distance from each other, and they could be safe because there is enough space there.
I've been getting a lot of messages from boys and girls right across the country.
Other than innovative safe distancing measures, some countries have empowered their kids to ask tough questions to the people in charge. So I decided maybe it's time we do something similar here in Singapore.
Then why do we have to go to school early?
This generation of kids is growing up in the midst of a global pandemic.
What is your advice for children who are growing?
So we asked students to send us any question they had on schools or COVID-19. I'm taking these questions to the Education Minister, Ong Ye Kung.
Safe distancing?
Let's take a seat. Yes.
When can my friends and I eat at the canteen together? It is boring.
I'm surprised. The little girl was asking when can I eat with my friends again. I think she can, but maybe not so close. She's diagonally across 1 meter away.
I know.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Is it much fun eating during recess when that person is diagonally 1 meter away?
The friendship is still there, even you are 1 meter apart. Yeah, you can see each other, you can still speak to each other. Yeah, just have to get used to it.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Why are we going back to school even though there's still COVID cases?
Why can't we be like New Zealand and wait till all the COVID-19 cases drop to 0?
I read about this article about the second wave of COVID-19. If this wave comes to Singapore, then what changes will there be in our school system?
So that's the challenge of MOE for the past few months. The virus will be with us for a while, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even more. So it's not going to become 0 for some time. And it's not possible for us to close schools for so long. If there's a second wave, like what the little boys say, what we hope is that every time there's a case, we will have tested quickly, isolate the person, quarantine the people around them, and so that it won't spread to others. And that's how we live with COVID-19.
Since we can't do assembly because of social distancing, then why do we have to go to school early?
Very hard to answer that one.
Can answer.
Okay, go right ahead. That's why you are the minister.
Why do you still have to go to school early? It's good to go early sometimes, then you stagger out the arrival, then it's not so crowded.
I would like to know if we will have a vaccine in the near future.
If we ever find a vaccine for COVID-19, will you make it compulsory for all students?
Is it compulsory? I wouldn't use the word compulsory because it would be good for all of us to have it, right? Just like all the children, you will get your MMR vaccination, and it helps you prevent certain diseases to get to you. So what we want when we have the vaccine is to make sure it's affordable and it's available to all Singaporeans, including our little ones.
Can we have air conditioning or air purifying in school? Wearing a mask in addition to feeling hot and humid makes it hard to breathe. Therefore, I cannot concentrate well in class.
I agree with him that it's more comfortable in aircon. But I give you 2 reasons why it's not so good. Number one, when it's aircon, the airflow is not as good. It's more likely to transmit viruses. So it's better to be open air and well ventilated. And number two, aircon produce a lot of carbon dioxide. So if you are environmentally friendly, try not to use so much aircon. If you are uncomfortable with your mask, sometimes you can exchange it with a shield just for a while, just to take a break. And many schools today have maskless corners, where kids can go there, take a break, take off their masks.
Is that right?
While. Yeah, but they don't talk, and then they put it back on. It's like adults sometimes have smoke breaks.
Yeah.
Children, they have mask off breaks.
Dear Mr. Ong, do you have children? How have they been affected by the pandemic? What is your advice for children who are going through this pandemic and have to adapt to this new normal?
I have two girls. One's a teenager, one just turned 20, but both in school. So they've both been very affected, don't get to go to school, and they really miss going to school, and really they have it up to here, staying at home. The first week or so, they learn how to cook, one learn how to paint, and they do all kinds of things to keep themselves occupied. But after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I think they're really bored. So it's very good that now we enter phase 2.
Mr. I've got some pictures in front that some of the kids have drawn. Maybe you can take a look, because we told the kids to draw what school is like to them now. I particularly want to point this one out.
This one is obvious. They all like total defense, fighting against the virus, preventing it from coming into school. Well done, very optimistic. This one, see, virus is here, everyone got locked up, but this guy here tells everybody when others are saying, oh dear, I'm stuck at home, he say, stay positive. I like to think that after drawing all this is what the artist is saying.
I actually spoke to the artist, and he says that school was feeling like a prison. What would you say to him?
Obviously, he had a lot of fun before COVID-19. And now he sees school as different. And I would say he must be thinking, how do we get it all back? Yeah. And so again, I would tell him, all of us have to play a part, and we can get it all back someday.
It's hard to tell if our kids are affected by COVID-19 and all the restrictions that come along with it.
What I've observed is that the kids adapt really quickly to the new rules. But I wonder if we as adults can be more innovative in how we help the children deal with the safe management measures so that they don't miss out too much on this part of their childhood.